Good evening, everybody. Hope you are all doing well this week. I know it's what is it? Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Anyway, hi everyone. So I'm seeing some interesting comments in the chat. I'm not really sure why Tommy is saying "Oh my God," but sure. So good evening, everyone. So first, let me just address this from the last video. Yeah, I would not be going after all the superpowers stuff. In fact, this is one of those beautiful videos where, much like within humanoids, I have a dear friend who collected the whole line obsessively. And so he's going to let me borrow and film all the toys in the line. So I don't have to spend one dime on this this line. And that's something that's kind of hard to do sometimes when the line is really not good. Like, I didn't have a friend in the world who had all of the adventure series from Indiana Jones. So when everybody was asking me to do that, it was like, oh, well, I guess I have to do that. So I have to go buy all those, which I did. So yeah. Okay. It's just Tuesday. Right. Got it. That would do it, Fly Highland. That would do it to you. So Peter, good to see you. Good to see you. So hope you're doing well in Oz. All right. So let's see. Thanks for the update on the last Superpowers figures, Michael. Yeah, I think the whole line is over. Minus the Superman movie stuff. So now it's all about just doing a post-mortem on this line, which I think is actually warranted given what I've learned about the line in the last few weeks. Because after those terrible first waves, I just walked away. Okay, so Brave doesn't work with super chats, by the way. What is Brave? All I know of that is that it's a Pixar movie. Jason Anderson, did someone say Kylie Fund? Thank you for the super chat, sir. I appreciate that a lot. All right, so Imperial Brick says, just rewatched your Dial of Destiny review and was honestly even more dumbfounded by how awful the movie was. I only saw it once. I never want to see it again. Well, fortunately, you never have to. And anybody that doesn't want to see that again doesn't have to. You can just watch that review in stages. It was designed to make sure that, you didn't have to watch that movie again. What is up, Drew? Good to see you too, sir. Okay, so let me get to these. Let me get to these boxes because oh, did you? Well, thanks, Ronnie. I appreciate that. Uncle Bennett says, I think McFarlane has replaced the Superpowers figures with those 6-inch figures they started with Batman 66. Oh. All the 6-inch figures were out of scale with all the 6-inch accessories and vehicles. Good Lord. Apparently we are. Jason has already lit that fuse, so it's already on the way. As far as I know, Tommy, you're not banned on my channel. If you were banned on my channel, you wouldn't even be able to. I wouldn't see that chat. So you're not banned here. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Kenny Long. Good evening, Michael. It's been a while, Kenny. I hope you're doing well. Good evening, Michael. No one ever watched Alien Earth. Okay. The show is total ass. Good to know. All right. Let me start with these So my mouse has one of these stupid back buttons on it. And even though I've told it not to go back in Windows 11, apparently I can't get it to stop doing that in other applications. So I have to be real careful when I whip back over and hit the mouse, because they put a back button right on the stupid housing, right where your thumb is. And so that means that I can back out of my own studio here in StreamYard, which is awesome. That's great. From what I've seen on Alien Earth, it's a show made by Dummies for Dummies. Damn. Okay. Let's see. I think we should start a GoFundMe to buy all the Super 7 Thundercast figures for. Oh, I would recommend you just go over to Lio Convoy and watch his reviews of them, because at least you'll get a brutally honest take on every single one of them. Lio Convoy Reviews is reviewing those. He's the last word in Thundercats. I couldn't say it any better. And he likes the show. He likes the property, but he is very objective about Super 7's effort there. Let's see. Fart Sniffer 69, love the handle, by the way. Thank you for the super chat. He says, sent from Brave browser. Very interesting. Okay. Kurt Road Trip 4.99. Thanks for the super chat. He says, there he is, the most hated toy reviewer on YouTube, all because unlike the others, he has integrity. And I appreciate that coming from somebody who's wearing the best Star Trek uniform in Trek history. So thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. Much appreciated. And thanks for being here tonight. Oh my God. No. No. And then, well, you got your super chat through. You yelled at me for porches jokes. I don't remember that. I honestly don't. So as far as I know, if you got ribbed by me, you deserved it. All right. Anyway, moving on. So I just want to say, keep being the best YouTube channel out there. I hope we get more Doctor Who videos, because I really enjoyed the previous and watched them multiple times. I want to keep doing more Doctor Who. I really do. It's just, we've got to get to a place where the Doctor Who stuff gets watched, and YouTube, it doesn't look like it's going to be playing ball with that anytime soon. But I love Doctor Who. I've got a huge Doctor Who collection going, both the character options figures and the limited edition Blu-ray sets and autographs and all that stuff. So yeah, I love Doctor Who. So Imperial Bricks, I'm going to predict that you are a millennial or younger. I'm going to predict you were born late 80s, early 90s, something like that, or younger. Okay. I have seen the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Wow, what a... Hold on one second. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. There is a full-on weird obsession with Last Crusade. I don't think the movie sucks or anything, but it is a generational marker. Because Last Crusade is the safe Indiana Jones movie, like, it's not bad enough to make you mad like Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny, but it doesn't have that edge to it like Raiders and Temple of Doom. It's the vanilla one, the one that you don't have to really like worry about getting stressed out about. It's Diet Raiders. It appeals to the safe space generation. It appeals to the whole generation of good feels and I don't want drama. So I've noticed that is like a thing for younger people who like Indiana Jones. They always love Last Crusade the best. It's like the stuffed animal of indie films. Let's see. Okay, so let's let's open some of these. Okay, so now we're going down the whole Last Crusade thing. Tell you what, you guys keep just enjoying those Last Crusade vibes or whatever you want to call it. And you can sit there and say, Last Crusade is straight fire, on God, no cap, whatever. But one day you'll look back and you'll look at Raiders in a different way. It's like when a guy finally grows up and realizes that Lawrence of Arabia is actually a really good movie, and it's a movie he can't stop thinking about all the time. That'll happen for you with Raiders. It'll happen. Just wait. I didn't roast you for your age. I predicted your age based on your unsolicited comment that Last Crusade is your favorite movie. You walked into that minefield, Imperial Bricks. I didn't judge you for when you were born. I simply said, because you just decided to vomit out a position on the indie films, and that was your answer, which was unsolicited, I had you pegged as to what age group or younger you were in. Don't sit there and say I was knocking you. Okay, so first thing I want to do is, this isn't in a box, but I want to show you guys. Let's Toy on Instagram gifted me a Longbox Heroes Rocketeer, which is an amazing figure, and it is Lawrence of the Arabs. No. David, it's Lawrence of Arabia. Let's show some respect. Okay, so he gifted me this. I really want to open it, and he's telling me I should, but part of me wants to just keep it on the card because it's so nice. So I have this. All right, first box. Let's see. They've made several Rocketeer figures over the years. I mean, I've got one laying right here from Funko Reaction or whatever it is. And I know there's others. There's like a 6-inch one, and there's some executive collectibles ones that came out that are super expensive. So, okay. These Slacker, these figures are really, really well made. I'm actually shocked at how nice they are. He had a loose example to show me, and I mean, just the quality of the plastic and the way they put it together, and the way that you can pop the limbs off just because they thought it'd be a good idea to swap parts with other long box figures. They've really made a robust figure design. I'm very impressed with it. I've read both, or I've experienced both. I love the movie because it's so faithful overall, with a few nuances. Some people who've only seen the movie and who are already an adult and then go read the Rocketeer comics may find them a little weird. I personally like them a lot. I would say you should always read the source material if you can. Well, yeah, I mean, this was manufactured in 2023, so yeah. The carb is not fixed yet. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of other obligations that my money's had to go toward. I have been in talks with some friends who are good at this kind of thing, and they're ready and willing to help me as soon as I have the money to kind of. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to buy a new carburetor, like a different one. This one was not remanned properly. I'm sad to say. So I'm going to have to get another one that's done right, get it on there, properly configure the throttle cable, run new fuel lines, and then figure out the fuel pump problem, because the fuel pump carrier and the fuel pump are not marrying up. So I got a leak on both ends. I got a leak from the throttle lever, and I got on the carb, and I got a leak on the fuel pump. So so everything else has gone to seed while I've been waiting on that. Cylinders, clutch and brake cylinders have frozen up, and so the only thing I can tell you that's a positive is that I've had the DeLorean down before, and so I know all the ins and outs of keeping it safe. And I drained the fuel tank before I tucked her in, because I knew it was going to be a long time. So there's no fuel sitting in the tank turning into ethanol or anything like that, or turning into turpentine. There's nothing like that going on. The fuel tank is bone dry. So it's just a matter of getting everything else sorted. She's going to need new tires, and I got to do something about the rear clip, and it's like a whole thing. So it's going to be a while. Let's see. Why is everybody saying I'm roasting them for their age? All you've done is just reveal what your age is. Like, you guys stepped on rakes and then are acting like I went at you. Like, okay. See, this right here. I was born in 2002, and Raiders is my fave. Liam, I'm going to predict that you're an old soul. Like so many of us that were interested in things that weren't of our time. And so like Raiders is kind of like this, it's a window into the 30s and a window into a different kind of storytelling. And for you, it's a double whammy, because it's a window into the 30s and a window into serialized storytelling on film. But it's also a movie that was before your time, and it's not the one that most of your generation actually gravitates toward. It's this other one. So I'm predicting you're more of an old soul, and that's like it's a subset of pop culture enthusiasts. You know, we're the guys that tend to know a lot about pocket watches and stuff. Let's see. Have you tried to fix the flux capacitor? Is that like a fusion between capacitor and compactor? Because there's the trash compactor from the Death Star, and then there's the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. Okay, let's see. I'm not saying you are, but if you start roasting people, do me next. I've always wanted to be roasted by someone other than my wife. Sir, I don't think it's possible for me to roast you, given the gift that you gave me, the friendship that you've shown me, and the fact that I know you're going through kind of a rough time, you know, like just in life. So I tell you what, I like to pick my timing on that one, but if you feel like you need me to do that, I guess I can try and come up with something, but I honestly can't think of anything negative or roasting or mocking or anything like that to kind of needle you with. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to drop this one, okay? Thank you, Strugan, for bringing this up. I'm going to drop this one in the stream for all the Last Crusade stands, okay? I don't hate Last Crusade. I love watching it. It holds a special place in my heart, like for a lot of reasons that I won't go into here. It's not important. But he brings up just one of the biggest sticking points that may or may not break this whole thing for you, as far as Last Crusade being the penultimate, all right? So we've had 2 movies prior to this. Raiders, Temple of Doom. In both of those films, they don't really bother to tell you or need to explain to you, because you don't really need to know, all the different things about Indy's origin, okay? By the end of Last Crusade, at the very, very end, you learn that Indiana Jones took his name from his dog. Wait for it. So what Spielberg and Lucas decided to do in the very last moments of Last Crusade was reveal that not only was Indiana Jones such a lame-o that he gave himself his own nickname in his youth, but that he stole the name of his dog, who was still alive when he took it. Because in the opening of Last Crusade, we see Indiana, the dog, in the house where he comes back with the cross. But his friend is already calling him Indiana in the cave on the scout trip. So they have made this guy completely lame by saying that he took his nickname from his still living dog. To me, that's haram. That makes no sense in the entire lore of that character. And I don't even think that character should have lore, which is one of the biggest mistakes. But they definitely shouldn't have done that. And they just thought, oh, that'll be funny. And they didn't think it through. They did not think that through at all. And so now it's like, when you really start to dig down and think about it, it's like, wait a second. It's like when they retconned Leia to being Luke's sister right before they did Return of the Jedi. They just really didn't think that through when they made that decision. When Lucas did that, he wasn't thinking about everything that had come before. And the saddest part is, in Last Crusade, he didn't even think about what came before in the same movie. Because the beginning of the movie establishes he's already called Indiana and his dog is still alive and in the house. The Malamute dog is there in the house. So if he's already being called Indiana and his dog's name is Indiana, stupid. Royally stupid. Let me see here. Oh, come on. Really? Okay, first of all, he's only what when Young Indiana Jones Chronicles starts. And in the very first episode of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, when he's 9 or 10 or whatever it is, he's already got the dog, and the dog is not that old, okay? And he goes off on his Egypt adventure. And then in Last Crusade, he's probably what, 15, something like that? It's only been a few years since that. It's been like less than 5. That's the same dog. That ain't a different dog. That's the same dog that he calls Indiana at the beginning of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which was produced, what, 3 years after Last Crusade? Nice try. Try the punch. That's oof. Okay. The thing is with Last Crusade is it settles into pretty much the best. Settles? Boy, you guys are desperate. Desperate. Okay. I would say to that last survivor that depends on your definition of pulp, because Temple of Doom is amazing, but it's more a sequel to Gunga Din than pulp serial in that respect. Like Raiders actually mimics the Republic pulp serials. Gunga Din, yes, carries the flavor, or Temple of Doom carries the flavor of Raiders over to the sequel Temple of Doom, but it's literally a remake of Gunga Din, which is a full-blown movie, which is like it's like a AAA budgeted for its time, full feature-length Republic serial type action adventure, but it was a prestige picture with Cary Grant and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. So the pulpiest one is Raiders in many respects, as far as the serialized way in which they let the action unspool. Temple of Doom has pulp elements in it, but it's undeniably a sequel / remake / homage of Gunga Din. So Tommy, I get that this is the hill you're going to die on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you die on that hill alone. You keep yelling at those clouds, all right? And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start opening boxes. You keep telling yourself that. Go right ahead. Nobody likes the devil's advocate, M1A1. Nobody. All right. So I got a package here from Keith Holmesley. Thank you for the super sticker, Bradshaw Studios. Much appreciated. Of course, I've seen Jason and the Argonauts. I own it on Blu-ray. I grew up watching it. It's a great movie. All right, what do we have in here? Keith always packs everything so well to the point that I never know how to get into these boxes. All right. Get that open. Lay down here. All right. Doesn't the dog food bowl? We can check. We can check. In fact, I've got all the movies on my computer in digital form right now, so I could just click over and look and see if there's a dog food bowl. Oh, what is... Oh. It looks like I own one of the shirts from the new Superman movie. It's a large, so... But it is brand spanking new. Thanks, Keith. I appreciate that. It's yeah, I mean I usually wear a medium, but I can wear a large. Knowing what'll probably happen is that Melinda will just abscond with it for a for one of her favorite shirts. She always does. So okay. All right. Well, glad to see you, Adam. Glad to see you. Okay, so next box. This is from Alexander. Oh, Uncle. Do you not know how many Kylie shirts I have and Lara Croft shirts? I'm trained at this. Ah, you're immense, George. Thank you, sir. All right, what do we have in this box? Where does this thing... Why are... Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Whoa, popcorn. Something in here in bubble wrap. All right. There's a note inside. Michael, please enjoy this Yoda in whatever way you choose. It is yours now. Pair it with a Dagobah Luke from Power of the Force. Sell it for $1,000. Grade it, open it, play with it. Plant it in your garden. Up to you. I know it's not any real monetary value, but it would look great on the back of a Luke figurine. But also don't feel the need to keep it forever just because it was a gift. I purged most of my spare Power of the Force 2s years ago, but a few lingered. I'm sorry I don't have the Dagobah Luke to go with it. I'm sure you'll find one. Comic shops and toy vendors usually have plenty of the more common Power of the Forces. Thanks for all the great videos, video content over the years. Your channel, RetroBlasting, is first class. Peace and prosperity. Alex, and I think that says Durnan. Alex, thank you, sir. Thanks a million. And I will be getting a Luke for this. Very much appreciated. Thank you, man. This will be a fun little Easter egg in the display cases. This guy and Luke. Okay, so I'll put this over here. It's one of my favorite. I'd say that movie's in my top 20, top 30, something like that. Easy. I love Grosse Pointe Blank. Well, you're assuming I like Moulin Rouge. Okay, next box. Uh-oh, this one's coming from Last Call with Troy and Nanette. This is a Last Call box. What is in here? I like her in Rogue. Rouge is spelled R-O-U-G-E. The more you know. Oh my God, what are we doing here? Okay. It sounds to me like, okay, thank God. I thought for a minute these were like full boxes. I think he just used these to protect whatever. That feels full. Wait a minute. Okay, okay. This one's been opened. What we got in here? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so in here we have the Han Stormtrooper. We have the Luke, Walrus Man, Sand Trooper, and the Rebel Fleet Trooper. So Evazan was removed from this box because he was collecting that. Okay, got it. I have the Evazan. So what's in this box? All right, what do we got here? Han Stormtrooper, Sand Trooper, and Rebel Fleet Trooper. Okay, so this is something that Troy wants me to do. He wants me to kind of look over the Sand Trooper and Rebel Fleet Troopers and kind of give them a little bit of a harder look, as well as I think talk about this set of figures. So Troy and Nanette, thank you a million. You did not have to do this, but clearly you're committed to hearing my my take on this. So I will make sure that this video comes out sooner rather than later. And you have armed me with the ability. You've armed me with the ability to do it. So much appreciated. I'll put these over here. Okay. Just curious, Michael, any other Power of the Force vehicles you think are superior to the original Kenner versions aside from Vader's tie? Well, I never said it was superior as far as all of its aesthetics. I said it definitely stands out. It has a lot of advantages. I still don't display it though because I don't like the front window. It's too small, and the top canopy looks like a wet pancake laying on somebody's head. It shouldn't look like that. So I'm torn. I don't like the inaccuracy of the Vader tie from Kenner, but I don't think that the Power of the Force one hits the mark. And the newest one that they've come out with, it's too expensive. It's highway robbery. So I guess we can't win in that regard. So right now I just keep my vintage one on display. It's true. I'm not really. I don't really do musicals. Let's see here. What's up, Jesus? Good to see you, sir. Melinda's been working on her own stuff. She and Conrad from Movie Oubliette are doing a series. They've been editing it for like a year, and they're hoping to come out with it soon. It's going to be their own YouTube sort of like project. So yeah. Oh, don't worry, Nyquist. I won't. I'm not interested in a Tron movie that takes place in the real world, and also the second sequel to not really have Tron in it. Like the first film had Tron in it, but you didn't know it till the very end. And then the second one, this newest one, this second sequel, they've just flat out said, yeah, Tron is not in this movie. And it's like, well, then why are we calling this franchise Tron anymore? Why don't we just call it Flynn? Master Son, I would argue that you loom. You're not so much a lurker, you're a loomer. You're a very good loomer. Very good loomer. And that's why I don't want you to see yourself as a lurker. I want you to embrace and ascend to the destiny that you've been handed. You're a loomer, sir. A very good loomer. Don't ever sell yourself short. How do you like your air purifiers? Are they worth getting? On the fence of picking up some for my collection room? Well, I don't really have air. That's not an air purifier. That's just a fan. Well, no, you know what it is to loom over something. He's looming over me. That's what I meant. Lurking is like down and sniveling and kind of doing this, whereas looming is broad-shouldered and tall and sort of standing over somebody, looking down on them. Not so much weaving. The comparison is pretty remarkable. They did a bit of removing effects flaws that I'm not a fan of. I own it on Blu-ray. I haven't seen it as much as some of the others, but I've seen it more. There, you know, if you ranked my Bond films by how many times I've seen them, not necessarily which ones are my favorites, but how many times I've seen them, Moonraker falls somewhere in the lower middle low. Not as low as some like Diamonds Are Forever or Octopussy or any of those, but it's, you know, somewhere in there. Let's see. Thoughts on the She-Ra? Well, okay, Jesus. So this is a great example of what we talked about in the Masters of the Universe Origins postmortem, where that is a set that would have sold really well at retail. But what do? They're like, hey, we're only going to put this out on Mattel Creations. And what we're going to announce for retail are mashups of He-Man and Transformers. Who wants that? Like, put those on Mattel Creations and let them die a horrible, bad idea death. Put She-Ra and Swiftwind and the normal characters out on retail where they have curb appeal, because we already know they had curb appeal back in the day. Unbelievable. I've only heard about a 4K Tron remaster, Adam. The 4K Tron disc is coming out. I don't know anything about an 8K Tron remaster. Well, that's not surprising. He wants everything that Mattel makes for He-Man. So I'm sure they're going to give him to him for free. Jet, I'm not the horror movie person. My wife is. And she prefers classic horror movies, including 80s horror films. She's not into modern stuff. It's a TV show. It's a Western. It was a good show. It was like a lot of other Westerns, TV shows from back in the day. I don't have a problem with it. I don't own it, but I don't have a problem with it. I mean, how could you not? I mean, this is like end game level stupidity from the toy industry. More of a Kylie vibe here. What are we referring to? They deserve it, because the rest of us are in the rest of us are here in this chat right now, and all of us have been just doing it the way collectors always did it. Looking, trading with friends, trying to help each other out. We're not interested in access. You're welcome, Sarah. You're welcome. Oh, I know, but see, that's the whole thing, though, is that they're losing. They're literally throwing money straight up by putting out all that stuff for retail, because it's going to languish at retail and then end up at Ollie's anyway. So they're just wasting more money, which drives the prices of all their products up. My cynical take on the She-Ra figures is that Mattel is trying not to alienate the young boy market. There have been rumors for a long time that's what happened in the 80s. Well, I don't know. With the cartoon, it did. You got to remember that it's not a rumor, okay? I was there, all right? I was there 5,000 years ago, Gandalf. Like, the She-Ra toys were sold in the girls' toy aisle, all right? He-Man toys were still being sold in the boys' toy aisle. They made two mistakes. They canceled the He-Man cartoon and pivoted over to She-Ra. That was mistake number one. Mistake number two was taking all of He-Man's latest villains, the Horde, and making them She-Ra's villains, even though they were in the He-Man figure range. So She-Ra collectors who were girls didn't know where to go to get the villains easily. And back then it was like, I don't know if I should be buying boys' toys. And guys didn't want to go into the girl department to get She-Ra. And she looked different from the Teela and Evil Lynn figures as far as her construction anyway. So it became this whole like thing. If they had kept the He-Man cartoon going and just brought in She-Ra as a new character that was semi-regular, and maybe she helped him fight Hordak and the Horde in those episodes, I think we would have been fine. But it wasn't about alienating the young boy market, because you got to remember, the He-Man toy line kept going for several years after She-Ra took over the cartoon broadcast airwaves. Like, the He-Man line kept going through the movie in 1987. They just didn't have a cartoon to back it up. Has Melinda checked out some of the now classic Japanese horror film? She has not, to my knowledge. She might have seen some of them, but I haven't asked. Didn't know anything about it. EA is a terrible company anyway. Just curious, Michael, what are your thoughts on the new kit from Tomy? I think it's cool. It's expensive, yeah, but it's fine. See, that's the kind of thing that needs to be crowdfunded. It's like a niche item from sort of a dead franchise. It appeals purely to adult premium collectible and nostalgia audiences. So yeah, I think something like that's fine. It's not really a toy. It's more of a prestige bragging rights display piece. I get it. Honestly kind of depressed by how much the toy industry is pandering to adult collectors now. Like, yeah, great, we get our nostalgia hits, but the kids get things they don't care about. And that's, yeah, exactly. The kids get nothing. I was there when dinosaurs ruled the earth, Uncle Bennis. $2 super chat. Thank you, Alex. What's with the business casual shirt? What shirt do you want me to be wearing? What shirt do you want me to be wearing? That's not a challenge. I'm curious. What shirt do you want me to be wearing? Is this weird? This is like the second or third comment about this shirt. Because I can fix that. Yeah, and Drew, I went into the toy aisle, like, you know, Indiana Jones trying to avoid stepping on those things. I went into the girls' toy aisle and got a She-Ra for us. I never had the horse, but we had She-Ra from the line. Let's see. Horde being part of She-Ra was a factor in my stopping Masters of the Universe. I was like, why bother if they split the line? Yeah, exactly. It was very confusing for everyone. My Forbidden Planet 50th anniversary DVD finally succumbed to Warner Brothers DVD rot. I was reading an article on what's happened. They linked to your YouTube video. Yep. Yeah, they're always late to the game, aren't they, Mark? They're always late to the game with this stuff. Have you continued to not support Hasbro and avoid buying their products? Yes, I have. Very much so lately. Yep. I've been selling off a lot of their modern stuff too. I'm actively in selling mode right now. So with all that modern stuff. That'd be really cool. I would love that. That would be really cool. Indie shirt. You want the indie shirt. All right. Okay. Let's see here. What have I got here that can let's see. This is what can I play here? Now that might get me demonetized. All right, I tell you what. Give me 50 seconds, and I will, because I got that shirt right here. So tell you what, I'm just going to change my shirt, and you guys can listen to the classic RetroBlasting theme while I do it. We gotta get back to the past, to the 20th century, digging through the bubble wrap into your memories. Back was the collector, he's protecting what we find. Relentless heavy metals keep us safe through time. RetroBlasting, just the corners of your mind. RetroBlasting, that's a whip. The stuff you love since you were 9. We're blasting into the past to see what brings still last. RetroBlasting. Does that work? Is that better? We all good? Okay. All right. So what else we got here? That's a good question. I don't know if they will. I don't know if they will, but the Blu-ray is really good, and I don't think it's that expensive. The classics. That's good stuff. Well, I figured it would take me about. It was my only option. My only option in the media assets thing. It was either that or 1 minute of. And this might be a disappointment for Jason Anderson, but it was either that or 1 minute of my dear friend Nokatan. So I needed about a minute. So, you know. All right. Did you Troy? So everybody, if you don't know Last Call with Troy Pacelli and Nanette, you should. Great Friday night live stream show. Troy, I just did the unboxing finally of the retro collection figures that you sent for the video that I'm going to do. And I was singing your praises. So you'll have to watch that on the replay when you can scrub back through. But yeah, you know. All right. I need the hat. Oh, jeez. Fine. I got there. Okay, so I was having a good hair day too, which I don't have that often anymore. Not down here. Not down here. Okay. Oh, thanks, man. No, I appreciate. Yeah, that was. I just wanted to do that. I love it. For years now, people have tried to play gotcha in the what do you call it? Trying to catch me in mistakes. And so what I love to do sometimes, I don't do it often, but what I love to do is I love to drop a mistake in a video, because some of these people are like, actually, and then they start typing, and then I love immediately addressing that. And so it wastes their time. So I love thinking about the possibility that there were like 50 hopeless nerds that started trying to correct me immediately and then got, just like hammered by Ron Swanson. I don't have the jacket down here. I don't have the whip. I don't have the bag. I don't have the, okay. So now that that's done, I'll set that over here. All right. All right. We have one more box to open. So let's do that while we talk. That won't happen, Drew. I won't give in to requests like that. No, sir. No, sir. Do you rank the new indie game above the two latest films? No. I put Crystal Skull over both Dial of Destiny and The Great Circle. And I don't like Crystal Skull all that much. That's how much I didn't like Great Circle. Great Circle was a freaking mess. And I don't even want... You know how I feel about Dial of Destiny. Well, you know how I feel about Great Circle. You've seen my video. Or have you? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Uncle Bennis. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, there is, but who's got the time? There's so many more important things that I could do instead of play that DLC. I could trim my nails. I could condition all of my leather boots. I could rotate the tires on the Jeep. Like, I could do so many other things that they just sound more appealing than playing DLC for a crappy game. Did I send you pics of the soft goods 118 Raiders India? I think you did. I think you did. I remember you sending me. Yes, that sounds familiar. All right, so let's look at this. Let's look at this last mystery box. Oh, this box is, everybody, this box is from Chasing 80s Toys. This box is from the legendary Chris Miwa. I could, but why? See, Sarge has his priorities in order. That's exactly what I'm talking about. All right. What do we have here? Oh, we got bubble wrap. And oh. We have a letter and an envelope. Hi, Michael and Melinda. Hello, Chris. Thanks again for the warm welcome and the wonderful days, especially after Joe Fest. I already missed the good times with you two and Scuba and Leslie. I hope we'll meet again in the near future, which I'm sure is more a question of when instead of hoping if. To Michael, I hope the content of this package finds you well. It's something I promised I would look out for. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Nothing's forgotten. Hearn protect us. Greetings, your friend from the Netherlands, Chris Miwa. What is in this envelope? What is up, Impossible Pie? Good to see you, sir. I don't know how you thought you did that because you're always Imperial in Star Wars. So, but yeah. Khalil, it's good to see you, sir. It's good to see you, man. When are we gonna finally reconnect? That's not an accusation, by the way. I know we've both been busy, but I would love to see you again. So let's make that happen at some point. I would love to see you again and get lunch or something. Yeah, yes, Eric. Yes. Yep. I'd rather have toothpicks wedged underneath my fingernails than play the Great Circle again. What a waste of money that game was. Meaning making it, developing it. What a waste of money. Yeah, that's what I've never understood, Alex. Like that would be a great adaptation into an animated miniseries, like an anime, like you're saying, and get Harrison Ford to voice it. That would be awesome. Oh, they've learned all the wrong lessons from this if they've already greenlit it. They've learned, oh, we're going to do more of the same. I bet you money they're going to do more of what made that game so lame. My opinion of the movie China with Alan Ladd is that it's an excellent bit of time capsule from those early days of World War II in filmmaking, because it's a story movie, but it's also got a little bit of that war bond propaganda in it. But it's excellent film. Obviously, for an Indiana Jones guy, it shows some of those origins. I have it on Blu-ray from Kino Lorber, I think. Yeah, it's a must-have for a pulp adventure. Someone who appreciates pulp adventure. You're very kind, Alex. Thank you. Yeah, it's weird. I know this doesn't surprise anybody, but for some reason, there's always an Indiana Jones shirt and an indie hat down here somewhere because I have so many of both. All right, sorry. So what is in here? No. Chris, I know you're not watching right now, but holy crap, really? Chris found for me, the 40th anniversary edition of the Robin of Sherwood Clannad album that wasn't very easy to get over here. Robin of Sherwood is one of the best adaptations of Robin Hood ever. And so I couldn't, we talked about this when he was here, and I was blown away that it existed. So thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm gonna be putting this into the computer tonight, ripping it and having a good listen. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you. I'm gonna put this up here next to all the Kylie CDs where it's safe. That is true, Felon. That is true. Yep, absolutely. Take it easy, Imperial. Talk to you soon. They're making an anime from Indiana. Imagine what Tomb Raider would have got. Well, Tomb Raider got that animated series over on Netflix, and it sucked. So, what's your opinion on the movie Uncharted? I think Uncharted's movie sucks, and I also think that the video games are kind of slipshod and they're very pandery. My shorthand is that Uncharted is Goonies for assholes. That's what Uncharted is. It's how can we take Indiana Jones and mesh it with fraternity culture, frat boys, and make it something where a brosif doesn't feel dorky being into it. Also, I have no interest in stories where it's just guys shooting up banana republics for gold. I just could care less. Somebody saying, oh, we're going to go find gold. That's not interesting to me at all. Yeah, an actual Japanese made anime would have been great for both Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones. That would have been awesome. I thought the season started out really slow because of the first 3 episodes kind of rolling off this weird fixation from the last 2 OVAs where for some reason they wanted to fixate on that idol band. And it would have been one thing if they fixated on it and actually did stuff that was true Rascal problem of the week kind of stuff, that sort of Diet Twilight Zone phenomena kind of stuff. But it wasn't. It was all just vague, booky, sort of like, oh, I'm having some anxiety, or I'm having like a psychological hang up that seems like a lot of people might have. But fortunately, with episode 3 or 4, I can't remember which one, 3 or 4, it turned itself around and it got back on track with what it did in the first season. So those the last 2 OVAs and the first 3 episodes of season 2 were just, I just wanted to walk into the ocean. It was just like, oh, but sticking with it and getting through to episode 4 through the rest was really compelling. I'm gonna go back and rewatch those again for sure. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what Uncharted is. It's just 2 assholes trying to get gold. And they're trying to stop these other assholes from getting the gold first. And they're wearing Henleys all the time. And they got their spiky little, David Boreanaz hair. I love the collecting channels such as yours, Toy Federation. Did you get into model making? I was into model making back when I was a teenager. I started building model kits when I lived in the UK. I was buying Airfix kits of World War II aircraft. And I wanted to continue model making when I got home to the States in '93 and started high school. But for some reason, my airbrush did not make it with us. It was the one item that disappeared and I never saw it again. And so I couldn't easily, because in the UK, I was able to walk to the high street in Weybridge and get what I needed from the model shop. In America, I was stuck in a suburban neighborhood with no driver's license. And so, unfortunately, my model making ambitions died very quickly, which was fine because Jurassic Park came out that summer. And I knew that special effects model making wasn't long for this world as it is. So, yep. Our theater just screened The Great Escape a few nights ago. First time I've seen it on a big screen. Oh yeah, I saw that in the. I saw The Great Escape at the Egyptian Theater in LA back in '02, I believe. Really, really, really cool experience to see that movie on a big screen. And just, what a great movie when it comes to. I grew up watching that movie, but what a great movie when it comes to dialogue. The way that they just had all of these just really, really well done economy of language and back and forths and stuff like that. You know, like one of the great examples I think is when James Garner is trying to initially figure out if he can snag anything from this parked German truck while everybody's distracted. And the guy comes up, you know, the German guard, and he's like, "What are you doing by the truck?" You know, what? Sorry, I've screwed that up. He's like, "What are you doing by the truck?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm stealing tools." And he's like, "For stealing tools, cooler." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not stealing tools." He's like, "Ah, you're American." He's like, "And you're a German." Like, it's this very bantery sort of back and forth kind of stuff. And they just don't write that way anymore. Because it's not sarcastic, but it's also not, it doesn't try to be clever and Whedon-y. It's just more of this, it has like a cadence in the real definition of the word. It has a cadence and a patter to it that they just don't have anymore. Let's see. You are welcome, LK. You are welcome. For whatever reason, we never got a Danger Girl movie. Do you think it should be made into an animated series or a movie? Given how bad live action movies are right now, I would err on the side of asking Japan to just do an anime of it. Get a Japanese anime studio to do it, not the studio that did that god-awful Tomb Raider thing. Do an anime animated series, and you might have a chance. But obviously work with, you know, people in the United States who are going to voice dub it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I saw it. Mondo has always been that toy company that doesn't even give you the benefit of a reach around, and they always go in dry. I have no use for Mondo, none at all. Well, the difference, Adam, between Guns of Navarone and The Great Escape, of course, is The Great Escape is actually based on a real thing, whereas the Guns of Navarone is kind of more of a fictional war novel kind of thing. And again, I like Guns of Navarone as much as I like Where Eagles Dare and some of those others, but there is kind of a nuance there that needs to be recognized. Have you ever thought of doing a Twilight Zone retrospective? I know it's a lot of show to review. Well, I'd love to, but there's so much of it that you'd probably have to go back in there and select certain episodes to analyze because it was so rich. It was so rich in content and subtext that you really need to analyze it almost like episode by episode, or at least in sections. In order for video game movies to work, does the game itself need a working plot to start, or should creatives be able to work with what little may be there? I mean, you've got to have just enough of a story to kind of compel you to move everything along. Like even Nintendo games back in the day, like understood that the technology had advanced to a point beyond Atari 2600 where it was like, this is no longer just, hey, it's two Italian guys in a sewer, you know, on one screen bopping turtles. That's not a movie. They tried it, you know, with well, actually they didn't try it. Super Mario Brothers has been tried, but Mario Brothers, you know, like, dare we talk about Battleship, the movie, based on the board game? So there's got to be just enough of a story to, you know, like Metroid had just enough of a story that you kind of understood that you were doing, you know, you were involved in a narrative that was going to lead to a conclusion. Zelda was the same way. Yeah, you were thrown into it right at the beginning. And Nintendo had very limited exposition before you got moving on the quest or the mission or whatever it was, Bionic Commando or something like that. But you had enough of a story that you could kind of get in there. I think when you grab games, and we can even include Super Mario Brothers in this somewhat. I mean, yeah, the CGI version did well, but it was 30 years after the live action one that flopped. And so there were all these other iterations of the games and Mario Kart and all these other things that happened since then that suddenly they could just fill, you know, Luigi's Mansion references were in there and stuff. They could just fill the movie with stuff that allowed it to kind of patchwork together a story. But back when they did the first Super Mario Brothers, there wasn't really enough to go on. Like, and of course they executed it very poorly on top of that. So I would say that you need something of a plot for a video game to be adapted into a film. Like, I know that it's a very divisive discussion, but for all of its missteps, the Castlevania anime series or animated series benefited from it having enough of a plot throughout all those games that they could really put something together to make the animated series. When I went through SEER training, we actually put dirt in our pockets from attempted dig sites that the cadre couldn't see. Yep. It's because Hollywood doesn't know how to do it. And they overthink it. And corporations overthink all their sensitivities about everything. Corporations are the most dysfunctional, draconian monsters in our society. I'd break them all up. I would break them all up. I'd break them all up and hang the CEOs. I don't know. Is there a specific stupid idea TMNT figure from the vintage line that you absolutely hate? Well, I mean, you've seen my video about the Ninja Turtles line, I hope. There were a lot of really, really, really dumb ones. Most of them have to do probably like farmer turtles and birthday turtles are the worst. There's some really, really bad ones. Lawrence of Arabia or The Great Escape? Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia. Not even a question. Problem with Danger Girls, the creators aren't focused on growing it. Campbell just does covers now, and Andy Hartnell left the series on a cliffhanger in 2016 and hasn't made an effort since. And that is frustrating. I like Campbell a lot, but you're right. They're not doing enough with it. Kind of like how Lucas didn't do enough with Indy over the years. Not only did I see it when it was originally broadcast as a kid, one of my most vivid stay up late to watch memories, I actually have the limited edition 4K disc copy of The Great Escape 2 that came with the limited edition Arrow box set of The Great Escape from last year. And that was the only way to get the 4K edition of The Great Escape 2. So yes, I've seen it. No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Well, they turned Street Fighter into a dumpster fire of a movie too. And then they did an anime of Street Fighter 2, which I guess is marginally better because at least it's correct visually. Yeah, I've heard that the Nocturne is where it nosedived. That's what I've heard from people. I can't remember if I was in Nocturne before I stopped watching it, but I've seen all of the first series. And it was really good. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. Mortal Kombat stands out as a game that had a lot of lore, but movie studios can't get it right to save their lives. Yeah, very true. Very true. And when you see movies like Enter the Dragon already having the format down 50 years ago, you'd think that they'd know how to make a movie like that. It's all a roll of the dice if they can make something. It's all a roll of the dice. It's not so much can they make it, it's can they make it well. Is there a cartoon or toy line crossover you wish they made? Cartoon or toy line crossover I wish they had made. I'm blanking right now. I feel like that there's a yes answer to that, but I don't know what. I can think of a lot of movies that didn't get toy lines that they should have. The 1984 Ghostbusters, the original Back to the Future, The Last Starfighter. Some of those were in various stages of development before they pulled the plug. But I can't think of one for cartoons and toy lines at the moment. Yeah, I can't. Pole Position. Pole Position would have been one I would have liked. Okay, so the only video game toy show or the only video game to show I've seen that was pretty good was Last of Us. Okay. I don't know much about the Jack Hunter TV series. But I can tell based on the name of your channel that you definitely like the Jack Hunter TV series. So I will try and check that out. Who would you want as the next James Bond? Oh, geez. I don't know if that's for me to say. I wouldn't know where to begin on that. I can understand why it's such a hard search. I have no idea. Let's see here. Thoughts on soon-to-be released Battlestar Galactica, Viper, and Figs. They look neat. I'm not going to be investing in them because I'm trying to save my money as fast as I can for this trip I'm trying to take. So I'm kind of not buying right now. I've only made a few strategic purchases for things that are, on pre-order, but they're not toy related. They're other things. So yeah, I'll be passing on those, but they look great. I saw the photographs. They look really good. Supposedly the creators of Cobra Kai are now in talks to reboot Knight Rider. May they go with God. I hope it goes well. Harrison's best movie role outside of Star Wars and Raiders. I always liked him as Jack Ryan in Patriot Games. That was always my favorite, but he does well in a lot of roles. Like, he's really great in The Fugitive. Some of his later films haven't aged all that well. Some people say some of them have aged better than others, like 6 Days, 7 Nights. Nobody really liked it when it came out, and now people are saying it's really awesome. Whereas Air Force One, everybody liked it when it came out, and now everybody kind of sees it as a dumb movie. My vote would be for, some people, a lot of people are going to say Deckard from Blade Runner, obviously. And yeah, that's probably next to Witness. That's one of his most introspective, layered roles. But for me, if you want to find that balance, like if you're trying to find a balance between his Indiana Jones, Han Solo sort of career and his Deckard John Book kind of career, I think his portrayal of Jack Ryan is probably the happy medium. It's like when people ask me, what's your favorite Tom Hanks role? And I always say Jimmy Dugan from League of Their Own, because that's the moment where he started to cross the threshold from comedies into dramas. But that movie allowed me both a comedian and do what he did best, as well as do a lot of dramatic stuff at the same time. And so when he went on full drama mode, you lost that Tom Hanks from back in the day. It's like he almost forgot how to walk because he started running and he couldn't stop running anymore. And so like with Harrison Ford, I feel like if you're looking for the way I've said it a lot over the years is that Star Wars and Indiana Jones films are Star Wars and Indiana Jones films. They're not Harrison Ford films. Now you might say, well, Indiana Jones is definitely right, but the first movie was called Raiders of the Lost Ark, regardless of what Lucas stupidly did with the title. And Harrison Ford disappears into those roles. Like when I see a picture of Indiana Jones, I think Indiana Jones first. I think Harrison Ford second. Same with Han Solo. But when I see a picture of Jack Ryan or Richard Kimball, I see Harrison Ford. So all that to say is that I think Jack Ryan is like the perfect balance between the Deckard Witness heavy roles and the Star Wars Indiana Jones roles. There's my stupid long answer. Is Witness or Frantic a better Ford movie? Witness got him the Oscar nod. It's directed by Peter Weir. Frantic is Roman Polanski. I'd go with Witness probably. Bridge Too Far it's a good movie, but its execution was a little uneven. I'll put it to you this way. I'm trying to save up a bunch of money right now for a big once-in-a-lifetime trip. So I have to spend my money wisely because I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the goal. But when Diabolic DVD told me that, told all of us that they had a limited quantity of the Australian 4K remasters of Battle of Britain that were going to show up, I secured my copy of that from them. Last year, Imprint did Bridge Too Far, which I own on Blu-ray, but they did a box set just like the Battle of Britain one that's coming out. They did one for Bridge Too Far. I only watch that movie like maybe once every 10 years. So as much as I would have liked to have added that mega set into my World War II movie collection, because of what was going on with me wanting to save money and everything, I opted not to buy that one, but I did spring for the Battle of Britain one. So hopefully that gives you an idea. I don't hate the movie at all, but its execution is a little strange. Going to be honest with you. I didn't know if they had come out yet. I just knew that they were trying to make them. So, thanks, man. I hope it is, if I can get there. I would love to see something like that as a one-off. I think that'd be fun. If there had been a Kenner Superpower style Marvel figure line in the 80s instead of the Secret Wars. First wave would have been Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, and then I'd want to get like, Black Widow or, somebody like that in there. But yeah, you want kind of like that comic cover, the first people in the comic book cover for Secret Wars. So you'd want Hulk, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, your core characters. That's, yeah. Yeah, Mosquito Coast is an underrated performance. That falls under that whole Deckard Witness sort of era of his performance. It's a very, very well done movie, but it's not a movie I like rewatching. That movie is hard to get through. Let's say there'll be a new Flash Gordon movie. Who would you pick for Flash, Ming, Dale Arden, and Princess Aura? Oh God. Well, I mean, that guy who was in that Sydney Sweeney rom-com, he kind of looks like he would be sort of a more comic strip accurate Flash. I don't know these actors now well enough to pick one. Like I like so many of us, I haven't gone to the movies in forever. Sorry to say. Yes, he was in The Frisco Kid, which is a Western with Gene Wilder. That movie's also tough to get through. The comedy just doesn't land half the time. It's a very, very strange film. It's funny to see what is in effect Empire Strikes Back Han Solo, because he was still, I guess he was having to grow his hair out because he was about to go film that. They couldn't cut his hair back. So you're watching Empire Strikes Back Han Solo in a Western. I have still never seen that movie. I have never seen that film. Oh yeah. I've seen that many times. I own it. Yeah. I believe that's a J.J. Abrams script and probably the only good thing that man ever did. How much is the helicopter? What? I don't really care, Tommy, what your opinion is on Baldwin versus Harrison Ford. Like, I don't really care about that. What I care about is that you're doing the whole sorry thing when you're not sorry. You're just kind of being a dick. Like, you're doing like the lo-fi dick thing in the live chat. Like, you're doing that whole actually nerd thing, which is fine. Like if that's the guy you want to be, that's cool, I guess, though it's not cool at all, but you can think that in your head. I don't have a dog in that fight. If you want to fight that one and die on the same hill with Last Crusade, where Indiana Jones is naming himself after a dog that's still alive, I mean, go right ahead and keep just doing that. But yeah, Harrison Ford never killed anybody on a movie set. I'm just gonna say that. So Michael is saving money, which means Kylie fun. Thanks, Cute Fluff. I appreciate that. Harrison Ford keeps his Hollywood physique by eating only lean meat, vegetables, and eggs, 0 carbs. Oh, okay. The carbs are so good. Okay, just checked it out, and yeah, I'm gonna need that. Michael might want it too. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? You checked out what? What do we want? Does your trip involve going to Europe and visiting World War I and World War II battlefields? Well, I've already been to Normandy. I've already been to all the beaches. I've already flown in a Spitfire over the White Cliffs of Dover. I'm not going to Europe. I'm going somewhere totally different for a totally different reason. But no, I've done my fair share of World War II location touring. I addressed this earlier in the live stream, Felon. I've not picked those up because I'm saving money, and I'm not going to go see Tron Ares because it's another movie without Tron, and it's also got Jared Leto in it, who I'm sick of. I'm about as sick of Jared Leto as I am Josh Gad. Good evening, Naomi. Good to see you. Or should I say, konbanwa. Yeah, I know you're not sorry because you're just a jerk. You're just that guy that relishes people not liking you, and you just want to bring the experience of the whole chat down and everything. You're that guy that tries to heckle the comedian that's doing the stand-up, because you want to make it all about you. So you try to draw, and I'll make it about you all day, but I'm never going to make it about you and make you feel better about yourself. I'm going to make you feel like the turdlet that you're making yourself right now in front of everybody else. Okay, are you thinking of doing the Robin Hood trip? Yeah, I still definitely want to do the Robin Hood trip. I definitely want to do the Robin Hood trip. But that's not what I'm doing right now. Right now is an opportunity that I can't pass up. So I have to make sure that I get that done. But if it hadn't been, if that hadn't been an opportunity, then what I would have done is kept saving to get that Robin Hood trip going. But this thing kind of got in front of me, and I was like, I'm never going to be able to do this again for factors that involve the people that are going to be there and everything. They're not going to. This could be a once off, so I don't want to miss it. Let's see. Too many patrons on their cell phones in theaters. Yeah, that's why I don't go. That's why I don't go to theaters anymore. I just wait for the discs. You are welcome, Felon. You are welcome. Yeah, no, I want to do it, Jesse. I want to do it very, very badly. Absolutely do. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just a little ways off. It's a little ways off. I think I mentioned this on the last live stream. I'm pretty sure that I did, but I have an opportunity to, if I can get the money together, I have an opportunity to do a 2-week trip in Egypt, hosted personally by Graham Hancock, with multimedia presentations most evenings after visiting various sites. He's going to also be talking about and taking us to sites that involves his search for the Ark of the Covenant. We're getting special access to the Sphinx in areas that most regular tourists can't go. We're getting special access to parts of the Great Pyramid, parts of Saqqara. We're going to Elephantine Island, which is integral to his chronicle or his report about his findings on the Ark of the Covenant. It's a once-in-a-lifetime trip under those conditions, and I'm doing everything I can not to miss out on that. So, John Riggs, the man, the myth, the legend behind the Tennessee Jones, Indiana Jones group. Next to Indie Gear, the only Indiana Jones group that I'm a part of. Thanks for being here tonight, John. I appreciate that. Well, I'm trying to. I've put down my deposit because what I'm going to do is what I'm doing right now is selling a bunch of stuff to try and raise the balance before the tour company comes a calling for the balance, because the deposit's non-refundable. But I knew that going in. I needed to secure my spot in case they sold out. So I have my spot, and now I'm trying to raise the rest of it before they call me and tell me what date I have to send it in. So it's still a little yeah, you aren't wrong, Ragamuffin. You are not wrong. Holy crap. Last caller, Troy Pacelli. Thank you so much for the super chat. Graham Hancock Kylie Fund. Do you have a go-to for Kenner Star Wars figure stands, Michael? Star stands. I meant to answer your message about that, but I was going to go look up a link and send it to you. But they're called Star stands, and you want the ones for vintage Kenner. They're small, round. They very much resemble some of the Palatoy stands from back in the day for play sets. But yeah, they're called Star stands, and you want vintage Star Wars. That's what you want. Felon, thanks for the super chat. He says, for your Egypt trip, where can I get an indie hat? Well, if you watched my latest video about a month or two ago on the Penman hat, this happens to be the Penman Raiders hat. This is the very one that I talked about in the video. I would always go with John Penman because he's in the United States. As a matter of fact, if you're in Oregon, he's in Oregon. So you could, in theory, go visit his shop and get measured by him personally for your Indiana Jones hat. And John Penman actually has all of the actual tooling and equipment from Steve Delk, who did all the hats for Indy 4, but Steve Delk was an accomplished Indiana Jones hatter prior to that, who had unlocked the Raiders block again. So John has immense experience in all types of hats, and he's also a master in all the different Indy hats. And he can personally look at the shape of your head and all that kind of stuff. And so, like, this one right here, let me see. I don't know if my camera will actually show this properly, but you can see right here that dead on, you can see how it curls up on this side and swoops out on that side. That's Raiders. That's unique to Raiders. And he knows how to get that down perfectly. He's the only guy, especially if you're already in Oregon, he's the only guy I would talk to. The only guy I would talk to. So that's what I would say. Holy crap, Tim Ward, thank you for the super chat. Let's get this man to Egypt. Well, I'm trying to do this. Stop guessing where Michael is going. I'm sick of people needing to gossip and get into another person's business. This is why I love Cute Fluff so much, because she absolutely keeps it real all the time. And I love her to death. And I'm always so glad that she has my back. Thank you, Cute Fluff. But yeah, like, what I'm trying to do is I understand that in life, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. If you want something bad enough, you have to be willing to make a sacrifice something else. So if you look, let's see if I can get my chair out of the way here. I'm going the wrong way. If you're looking behind me right now, all of that is stuff I've been pulling out of the storage room. And you see that blank spot up there? That's where RoboForce used to be. I've been selling certain parts of my collection that have already been in videos to raise this money. I'm not doing GoFundMe crap. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm doing this my way. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make my own future happen with this. So in other words, I'm not beholden to my material possessions. If they can work for me to help me achieve something else, then that's what I'm going to do. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you for the super chat, Tommy. He says, got to record Egypt. Best of luck. Thank you. I appreciate that. They're very squirrely about video cameras over there for tourists, so you got to be careful. Bring a survival filter straw. I was in North Africa when I was in the army. Waters, yeah. Bottled water and everything like that is the guidance, and also I already have the medicine in case my precautions aren't airtight or watertight in this case, and something slips by me and I start to get sick. I've got all that ready to go. Well, being found is questionable as far as, like, do we really know? Even Graham says he's not quite certain. He believes it's in Ethiopia, but other people have different theories. So, do you think Tom Selleck would have been a great Indiana Jones? And I also love the Indiana Jones song. Yeah, I do think he would have been great. He was their first choice. It was Magnum PI that made it so that he couldn't do that series of movies. I'm not so nerd pedantic about that. I am not somebody that wants to sit there and be like, yeah, there's only one person that can do the role. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It really is a skill. Like John is really good at this. I mean, my head is actually a real problem for the Raiders look, and John knows exactly how to change the general specs of the hat to make it work for my head. So, not bad, Alex. Not bad. Going well. Oh, thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. I am trying, and I know Jason wants me to get to it as well. I'm trying to finally sit down and watch Mobile Suit Gundam. I'm trying to. Yes, Bjorn, I do, but I just try and keep my game face on. Since you're into archaeology, do you hear that Atlantis may have been found off Cadiz, Spain? Yeah, I saw the sort of what do you call it? News story about that. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how they're looking at it or viewing it, but if that is the case, then that's going to validate a lot of the stuff that Graham has been saying. But Graham has broader theories than even that. So, yeah, but I did hear about that. You're obviously going to be wearing the hat in Egypt, but will you go full indie? No. I know some people who when they travel to these locations, they just want to go there so that they can wear their costume and get pictures like at Machu Picchu and stuff. And while I'm not trying to dunk on anybody, and I mean like with the whips and the holsters and all that stuff, I find that to be more than a little cringe. Do I travel with shirts like this and hats and on airplanes and stuff? And do I always carry my bag? Yeah. It just always made sense to me. It's an outfit that totally makes sense. When they did that first movie, they designed that outfit very, very well. And as a kid, I just kind of knew. I was like, that outfit makes sense. It allows you to be ready for most things. But that being said, I'm more of a Red Wings guy when it comes to boots. I like, a good pair of jeans every now and then versus a pair of, wool trousers. I'm not so locked in to all that. For 30 plus years, I wore a World War II style bomber jacket when I traveled with my hat and stuff. I didn't wear an Indiana Jones jacket. So, I think people should do what they want to do and get the satisfaction they get out of it. But I'm traveling for the history. I'm not traveling to play pretend. I'm traveling to go appreciate something that I've read scores and scores of books and volumes of Graham Hancock's work since I was in college. And I've watched his Ancient Apocalypse show, and I've watched his specials and all that kind of stuff over the years. So this isn't about me going to play pretend. This is about me going to be enlightened. So all the Last Crusade stands out there in the audience, it's me trying to, find illumination. That's what I'm going for. I'm not going to cosplay. Lo-Fi, the only reason I'm not putting out an eBay link is because, one, I don't want to be labeled by my detractors as trying to solicit money from all you guys. So, and two, I don't want my detractors to find said eBay account and then start buying things from me just to commit fraud through eBay by, forcing refunds and saying that I sent them broken stuff and all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to also accomplish this while meeting the additional challenge of allowing my stuff to be found organically and then sold that way. That's why I'm taking these precautions. I'm trying to figure out what that means. What does that mean? A High Road to China is a great movie. Great movie. Graham, I do have, thanks to Scuba Pete, I do have the sword ship now, a complete one finally. And I finished the loose figure collection, but there's still a few vehicles I'm trying to find. So if I don't find them soon, then I'll just end up, and obviously I can't spend money on them now, but when I get back from this trip and I sort of regroup, I'll pick up the journey. I hope so, Last Survivor. I hope so. Yeah. It's gonna be a challenge to figure out how to structure it, but I hope so. Tommy, clothes are just clothes. It's not what you're wearing. It's the attitude with which you give what you're participating in. And your attitude can be measured a lot by anything fantastical that you decide to bring with you. So, for example, I'm not going to fault somebody for wearing a brown hat with a shoulder bag when all the other tourists are wearing fanny packs and their little visor caps and stuff. On the other hand, I will fault somebody for wearing a bullwhip on a belt to go to Karnak as part of a tour. You know what I mean? There are levels here, so I'm not really sure what you mean by go pro. Indiana Jones clothes are just clothes. There's nothing unpro or pro about it. What's professional is your attitude. It's the attitude with which you approach the activity or the opportunity. I've been wearing brown hats and leather jackets on flights all over the world all my life. I'm not about to sit here and let somebody get into my head that going pro ends up meaning dressing like, frickin' Nathan Drake from Uncharted instead. I'm not really into the whole aliens thing, and that's why I like Graham. Graham is very grounded. Graham doesn't deal in aliens and alien knowledge bringer theory. Graham deals in human history and human achievement. All Graham is saying is that he's saying humans made all this stuff. He's just saying they made it a lot earlier than what the history books say. That's all he's saying. He's not he believes that all the stargazing and stuff like that the ancient peoples did was temporal. It was a calendar, and it was there. And the monuments they put on the ground were so everybody would remember an exact time period where important things happened. That's it. Graham's not talking about lizard people on the other side of the moon. Let's see. There was an archaeologist who found the ark, who said it was taken away by an angel. Dude, you got to work on how you write this stuff, because you're not using spaces and. Yes, I'm familiar with Buzz Rickson, and good God, they are ungodly expensive. Okay, let me see here. Not a problem, Riley. Not a problem. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, When I'm about to go to something like this, it's once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm not going to sacrifice the experience that I want to have for the purposes of trying to blend in. But from everything that I've read, most of the time you stand out as a tourist when you're wearing all the typical stuff that Americans wear, which means that Americans would blend in over here wearing that stuff, but they don't blend in over there. They stand out like tourists. You know, one of the bits of guidance that they gave, of course, was, hey, you know, when you're over there, whether you're male or female, you know, don't wear shorts. If, you know, please don't. And some people still do, but they're like, don't wear shorts, and please don't, at a bare minimum, wear, you know, long pants and a t-shirt. Don't have bare shoulders. Don't wear tank tops for men and women. And they said, we would prefer that you wear long pants and collared shirts with sleeves. And I'm like, well, this section's not going to apply to me because I'm already going to be dressed properly. So in an odd way, going pro is not just being a mouth-breathing tourist. So if I look different from the tourists, which I often do, then that's probably going to help me out. Thought I was being scammed by an eBay buyer. I sold a sealed Batman Returns DVD a couple of years ago, and the seller said it was ruined. But then I saw the Warner Brothers disc. Yep. I mean, yeah, it happens like that. It does, and that's Warner Brothers leaving you out to dry. Yep. Well, true, but I still want to see them. I still want to see the pyramid and the Sphinx, and that's part of the trip. So it's also very much part of Graham's theories about the antediluvian thing. As a matter of fact, John, a lot of archaeologists are rather eccentric, and all of them have their own hats. All archaeologists, for the most part, have all their own hats that they wear, which are varying degrees of safari / outback / Indiana Jonesy. I mean, in fact, one of the most famous archaeological scholars of the 90s wore a pith helmet. So it's if you're imagining that archaeologists probably dress just like you, that's not true. It's not true at all. That's Kylie Minogue as a Jedi, Fly Highland. It's a painting. It's a painting of Kylie. Totally agree about the outfit making sense. I wore a brown hat, khaki shirt, and trousers when I was in Egypt and Jordan. It looked a bit indie, but primarily it's just comfortable wear for the climate. See, Graham, I've been wearing stuff that's in sort of like the 20th century travel milieu for my whole life. So I really don't care what people think about me anymore. I don't care. Like, no, I'm not going to be carrying whips and holsters to this trip. And no, I'm not going to be giving in to other people's perceptions of what is and isn't appropriate to wear. This is my money, my trip. It's my once in a lifetime. I'm going to wear anything that I prefer to wear, and I know it's going to be far more appropriate than most of the people on that trip. I'm going to be far more ready for anything else than they are. You know, I don't care. I've become blind and deaf to what other people think of me in the real world. I do not care. So it's their problem. I'm not going to be being the problem. If they want to make it a problem for themselves, they can make it for themselves, but not me. That, Alex, though, would be what would make you stand out in the tour group. And it would make you stand out in modern day Egypt. See? I do believe a lot of structures were built earlier than we think. Incan structures have 3 distinct styles in one city and look like, yep. Thank you. Absolutely true. Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of that movie In Bruges, where Colin Farrell and what's his face, whose name I can never remember, great actor. They have to go to Bruges in Belgium to wait for like a hit they have to do. They have to like take this guy out or whatever. And Colin is just complaining about having to be in Bruges and all the tourists from the US. And they're all gargantuan with like fanny packs and stuff. Bum bags, as they're called in the UK. Yeah, exactly, Cute Fluff. Exactly. I won't, and it's generally the only location I'd be able to check out would be the Windsor Hotel, which sadly is closed right now because they were building an extension to their subway system, and they hit the foundations of that building and made it not unstable, but they made it unsafe for human occupation for a while. So unfortunately, antediluvian. So they turned around and I can go see it, and I can probably look through the window of the basement and see where Lawrence was a cartographer before he was assigned on his mission that made him famous. But a lot of the other locations are up in the Sinai and across Arabia and up into Syria. And it's like, those are definitely not safe places to be right now. Egyptian travel guidance says, really don't leave the Nile Delta and sort of the central Nile part of Egypt, the upper and lower parts of Egypt. Don't go too far west towards the Libyan border, and don't go too far right towards the Sinai, meaning east and west. Don't do it, because that's where things get sort of dicey, and I don't have to worry about that anyway. So I find it hard to believe Michael ever cared what anyone thought about anymore. That's true. I mean, I still see the pyramids and the Sphinx, but yeah, absolutely be careful about the scammers. Absolutely. That's your style. I'm gonna do it my way. Yeah, right. Right. Oh gosh. Hey, VT Law Office, fuck off. How about that? How about you? Fuck off. I am barred from going to Egypt. What did you do, Ray? What did you do? Oh, Michael, I remember going on a high school field trip and they warned us about being properly dressed for the outdoors. Yeah. I grew up hiking and camping and going on all kinds of trips all over the world in the outdoors. I'm not worried about this at all. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this cock knocker. All right, now that we're talking about this, here's the thing about this douchebag that needs to just walk into the ocean. So there are some people in this world who don't tan because they have European skin tones like myself. I have what I call the Nicole Kidman complexion, which means that I come from a very English, Irish, Scottish background. So I burn red and then heal up and I turn white again. Now, I don't know what this doucher was, but he can take his douche canoe and paddle it somewhere else, because I don't need his freaking, frat boy standards for looking appropriate. Good God. Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's fine, Alex. And then I'm going to assume that you're, just if you say sup, what are you up to, bro? I'm going to be like, oh no, it's another toy collecting douchebag. Don't you? There's something about these guys now who are like, bruh. It's like, shut the fuck up. I'm so white. A girl from China I was on a date with pointed out. Well, yeah, you know what though? If they can't handle it, then they can always go find somebody else. Although I've been told that in a number of Asian countries, particularly Japan, their standard of attraction is they like a guy who's slimmer and paler. It's like their thing. You got off light on that one, Alex. You got off light. I wasn't even insulting you. Don't even start with me. I'm Latino and I can still get a bad sunburn. Yeah, exactly. There's a great artist YouTuber, Matt Rhodes, who's been making his own antediluvian comic book and recording his world building and designs. He nicknames Noah the shipwright. It's called, oh, okay, cool. Going back up here. Let's see, there's something here. I don't know. I just want to address this real quick. I don't know why it would be a fight, because I'm not in disagreement. You might want to refresh your memory on who Graham Hancock is. I wouldn't be going on a trip to Egypt with Graham unless I had unless I gave that theory a lot of credence. All right, let's see. Take it easy, felon. Thanks again. I'm surprised that douchebag didn't tell you this. Oh, I know, right? What was that all about? God, that's got to be one of the weirdest. That's got to be one of the weirdest comments I ever got. I picked up what you're putting down. The other day I watched the 1978 version of Death on the Nile. Had a good time watching it. I need to watch the new one, but I haven't. So, oh well. They're called spanners for men of culture. Kidding. Sort of. Well, I don't subscribe to that theory about the whole aliens thing. That's not really my thing, and it's not Graham's either. So I don't buy into that. For me, it's more of a timeline issue. It's not so much of a little green men issue. Oh, I'll be down in the Sphinx enclosure if this trip goes off. I'll be down in the Sphinx enclosure with special access. I'll get photos. I will get photos. That, Graham, is what I was told. That's what I was told. Yeah, isn't that crazy, Cute Fluff? It's like people just... I tell you what, the whole human discrimination against skin tones has got to stop. Like it is past its expiration date. White people hating on other white people for being too pale while hating on other people who aren't white for being too dark. White people be stupid. That's what white people be. Let's see. If you're going to go to Egypt, you should probably learn some. I'm already way ahead of you. Okay. I'm already studying conversational Arabic. All right. And I already know Arabic greetings because I learned all that stuff when I was in Europe. When I was growing up in my adolescence in Europe, they taught us those things in school. So I'm already there. I don't think that's going to be possible because I'm not going to be in a gyrocopter. You don't know that I don't like you. See, here's the thing. I got a lot of military guys in my audience who give me shit all the time, and I give them shit back. And they eventually respect me for it without worrying as to whether or not I like them or not. And some of them, like Master Son, are some of my best friends in the world. So don't fixate so much on whether or not I like you or dislike you. Fixate on whether or not I start going, you'll know, all right? Like you'll know. Everybody around here knows that when my tone of voice changes in a certain way, it's like, oh, and now the gloves have been pulled on and I'm swinging. Oh, that's cool, Eric. That's awesome. I hope that goes well. That sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, I want to try real falafel. Have some real falafel. Don't eat that. I want to try that for sure. Oh, that's good. Well, Troy, I actually draw a lot of inspiration from you in that regard. So as long as we can continue to inspire one another, I think we'll. Ra, good to see you, sir. I think that will take us to broad sunlit uplands. So, Mystery of the Nile is a great movie. Are you talking about Mystery of the Nile or Death on the Nile? Let me see. I'm looking that up right now. Mystery of the Nile. Oh, 2005 documentary. Oh, okay. That's right. I've seen this. That's the one where they go all the way back up the Nile. That's right. And find the source. Got it. And thank goodness for that, because sarcasm is becoming a dead language. With every generation that follows us, sarcasm is becoming this offensive dead language to people. I don't like crossovers. I don't care if it's Motu Thundercats or Ninja Turtles Motu or Transform. It's all wrestling Motu. It's all junk to me. In the Bible, which a lot of archaeologists have pointed toward historical accuracy, we know that the Egyptian pharaoh used Israelites. Right. But that being said, there are also a lot of questions about whether or not that was actually the timeline. They did have Israelites as slaves, but if I don't think the timeline works for them building those pyramids. That's where, and also there's a lot of conflicting Egyptological information that says that it was actually a seasonal thing, which also brings in a lot of problems because, as Graham rightfully points out, they established for the seasonal workers willingly going and building those tombs also doesn't give them enough time to finish them. Yeah. My favorite. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Kruger. My favorite is when you presented Crane Brain at Con. Oh, well, it was our very first panel presentation, and that was a good way to almost end that panel. That was a good show. I'm glad you think so, King Eric. There's too many people that just they start ranting and they go off in a hissy fit and fold. Yeah, they are. They're terrible. Sarcasm? Tommy, you've got to work on your spelling when you're trying to land these hits, man. Sarcastic and funny of any of us. Oh. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Consider me a part of Gen Z who likes sarcasm, or maybe I watched enough sarcastic stuff to not take it as a slight. Well, it's like Emily Blunt came out the other day and said she missed 25 years ago because now everything is so serious and sentimental and everything, and nobody is allowed to be flip about anything. And while I don't like flippant attitudes in certain situations, which is what people try to do to you on the internet a lot, I do think while we're talking about flipping, I think the situations have flipped. People are now flip about things you should be sentimental about. And they're sentimental about things that nobody should be anything but flip about. They treat flippant stuff with reverence, and they treat reverent stuff with being flippant. And it's like, what bizarro universe are we living in? No, I did not, because the organizer of Joe Lanta is a just incompetent, pathetic asshole at this point. The new guy that's taken it over, Brett, is a complete piece of shit. He's a lying sack of crap, and I will not go to that show and give him $1. He has mismanaged it within 3 or 4 events into the ground, and I've talked to a lot of the vendors and a lot of the attendees and stuff. It's not the show it used to be, and it's all at his feet because he is that guy that everything that comes out of his mouth is bullshit. Everything that he says is a pathological lie. He doesn't even keep up with the crap that he's spewing. Yeah, Brett and his whole cadre of people at Toylanta can eat a dick. Like, they are the worst. And I think the entire show should be yeeted into a volcano at this point. Brett can kiss my ass. Bit behind in the stream because I work at work. Yeah, I fry lobster red too, Kenny. Yeah. And that makes you multilingual. Let's see. 25 years ago, I could walk up to a girl anywhere and shoot my shot of charm to meet them. Nowadays, yeah. You almost got to pretend you're just trying not to disturb anybody on a subway everywhere. Master Son, thank you so much for the super chat, sir. I've been to Afghanistan and Iraq. I've been mortared, rockets, and shot at multiple times. The only time I thought I was about to die was in Egypt. Oh my God, I have so much to look forward to. I'm joking. I don't have any, I'm assuming that the only time you thought you were about to die was because you got the runs, or was it an actual situation where you thought you were in real danger? That would be really neat. That would be cool. Okay. Well, everyone, I mean, yeah. Okay. So this was during some kind of maneuver. Okay, got it. Okay, understood. Oh yeah, I've heard something about that. I hope they do. I'll pick it up on Steam when they do. Yes, I have. I've seen the Death on the Nile version with David Suchet. I have that on Blu-ray. Yes, I've seen that one. Very good. Oh, so not even in the air. So you were on the ground. Wow. Okay. Damn. All right. Well, that'll give me pause beyond the pause I just had. It's not BR Bricks. Yeah, I saw the trailer. It looks really cheap. I think the movie looks cheap. We were confined in an area, not able to leave. Oh, God. Well, I'm sorry that happened. Dang. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Kruger. Also stands out to me the Sherwood Castle playset. Oh, yeah, that was always that to me. That's like toy redemption. The Ewok playset just looked like sticks after a hurricane. No, I didn't confirm. I'm still saving for it. I haven't made the grade yet, and it's getting close. Have you seen the new team? Yeah, I know I'm not picking it up. I'm saving money. I'm not buying stuff right now. That would be tense. And that's an understatement. Damn, man. I'm sorry that happened to you. We'll have to talk in the DMs. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I don't miss your videos. They are excellent. I assume you mean I missed your videos, but I've been making videos. So are you saying that you miss my lives, or are you saying that you miss my videos? Because I'm still making videos and I do 1 or 2 live streams a month. So do you mean live stream videos that you miss? I need clarification. My neighbor was in Egypt for 2 weeks last October, had a wonderful time, and is going back again in a month. Oh, that's awesome to hear. Thank you for letting me know that. That's very helpful. Thank you. Oh, I don't miss your videos. Got it. Okay. You see how that could have gone both ways? Yeah. But I know he wasn't saying I don't miss your videos. I knew that. So I was like, is it that I assumed he says I do miss your videos, because a lot of people tell me that they miss my videos because they don't see them in the algorithm. And then I have to tell them, well, YouTube's not showing you everything. So maybe he was referring to one type of video, because a lot of people have complained that I don't do enough live streaming anymore. Like there's like a billion different nuanced ways that thing could have gone. Yeah. I honestly do like the man-child ones, but he's not show. Well, the problem, Tommy, is that the man-child news videos, they weren't growing an audience. They were actually losing audience. Part of that's due to YouTube. Part of that's due to audience behavior. But they were basically that show, that series peaked at 12,000 views for one of the installments, and then it just started tumbling, even though I kept making them dutifully. And I was when I finally got down to like 7,000 people watching one when it dropped, I was like, you know what, this isn't worth my time anymore. I think that was a horrible waste of resources. I just did one about a month ago. Didn't you see it? I did one about a month ago. And it didn't make the grade. I even told people at the end of it, if this doesn't get to 10,000 views in 36 hours, so, I might still do some, but they're not going to be every month. Don't you love that, Alex? How people are like, "Oh, I liked your videos from back in the day when they were good," and it's like, yeah, and back in the day when you're talking about those videos, there were 50 people like that guy saying the same thing about videos I'd done prior to that. They were hating on the videos I did then. There have always been haters of my videos, and they always believe there's this halcyon era that retroblasting was different, and it's just not true. I have noticed that I have to go looking for your videos more these days. Stupid algorithm. Your shorts show up often. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing this to my video channel, but they've been doing it to a lot of people this year. It's not just me. And the only thing you can do is go to my channel page. If you go to my channel page, you'll see all the latest videos. That's the only thing you can do, is be a more proactive, engaged viewer. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you guys are going to have a great rest of your evening. I'm going to cap this at 2 hours and a half. Thanks for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. I'll keep you posted. A new video, the Superpowers video, is coming soon, but that's going to be a few days as we're working on it. It's going to take a few weeks, actually. And in the background, I'm working on some smaller vids. So one of those vids I'll probably put together is the stuff that Troy from the last call sent me. You might see a retro collection video in there for Star Wars. Thanks, D-Spirit. I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Rob K. And I will see you guys on the next video. And if you need anything, you know how to reach me. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye, everyone.